In Peru, the 26 farmers leaders arbitrarily detained were released in the context of police repression of protests demanding elections in the country. In Russia, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu inspected troops and flew over advanced positions in the zone of the military operation for the Donbas liberation. And in Qatar, Argentina wins the World Cup for the third time after a historic victory over France. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Saturday, Peruvian police raided the Farmers Confederation's headquarters. After 14 hours of arbitrary detention, 26 detained farmers were released without any charge. The released farmers were welcomed by a crowd that stayed outside the premises of the Confederation where they were being held in demand of their freedom. Peruvian National Police claimed that in the framework of the state of emergency, slingshots, machetes, banners, and publicity alluding to the demonstrations were found inside the premises. However, the farmers denounced that the objects were planted with the purpose of justifying the harassment. They also denounced that police officers prevented their lawyers from entering the headquarters. And repression against protesters in Peru continues. In social media, they denounced that 4 citizens were murdered in the region of Ucayali. During Saturday afternoon and night, security forces launched a strong repressive operation in the town of Huipoca in the province of Padre Abad. Unofficial sources report that there are numerous wounded, in addition to 4 dead, among them a young girl, who were shot by army firearms. If these deaths are confirmed, the total death toll would rise to 28, according to figures released by the Peruvian Ministry of Health. Peru's acting president, Dina Boluarte, assured on Saturday that she will remain in office and demanded Congress to anticipate the general elections. In a lengthy presentation to the press at which ministers and military chiefs also spoke, Boluarte demanded that Congress approve the executive proposal to anticipate the general elections. The president also denied the possibility of resigning from office and assured that she will remain firm until Congress resolves to advance the elections. Meanwhile, security forces claim that they are regaining control of the country's internal areas following protests and repression that have left over 22 people dead and hundreds injured this week.
Congressmen do not look for pretexts not to advance elections. Do not abstain from voting. Vote for the good of the country.
Brazilian writer Nelida Pinhon passed away on Saturday at the age of 85. Pinhon was the winner of numerous literary awards and was the first woman president of the Brazilian Academy of Letters. According to a press release from the record publishing house, Pinhon died in a hospital in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, but the cause of death has not yet been determined. The Brazilian Academy of Letters regretted what it considered a great loss for the country's literature and announced that her body will be repatriated to Brazil to be buried in the Academy's mausoleum. Nelida Pinhon, born in Rio de Janeiro in 1937, authored more than 20 books, including the novels La Casa de la Pasión, The House of Passion, and La República de los Sueños, The Republic of Dreams, inspired by the story of her family's migration from Galicia to Brazil. For the body of her work, Pinhon was awarded the Prince of Asturias Prize in 2005. Experts warned that violence in Haiti could threaten cholera vaccination. On Sunday, the Haitian government launched a campaign to vaccinate more than 10% of its population. The campaign will focus primarily on children between 1 and 5, since this is the most affected age group. The Caribbean nation has 1.17 million doses of the vaccine, and about 500,000 more are about to arrive. However, specialists warn that many countries are having cholera outbreaks, which makes medication harder to come by. Despite this authorities' initiative, experts assure that the climate of violence and insecurity in the country will make it difficult to complete due to the lack of security for the vaccination teams and the lack of mobility of the civilian population. In Brazil, authorities report numerous fires near the territories of indigenous communities in the states of Maranhão and Tocantins. Local leaders reported that the disaster originated in Boa Hora Tres territory, home to about 150 people whose houses suffered fire-related damage. Fire also killed some animals in the area. According to villagers, every year illegal burning causes large fires, but those responsible are hardly ever established. They also denounce problems in the regularization of their lands, hand in hand with constant threats from invaders. Member organizations of the campaign against violence in the countryside recall having issued a public note demanding the government of Maranhão and the federal government protect the life, health and integrity of the population. Russia reports record snowfalls in several areas of the country. According to experts, Sunday snowfall levels broke the last 30 years' record charts with more than 31 centimeters falling over Moscow. Meteorological statistics in the country had never showed such large snowbanks since 1989. The amount of snow falling over Moscow in one day reached 50% of the monthly average. There are some areas such as Dolgoprudny, Masaysk, Kolomna, and Kachira where precipitations exceeded 20 millimeters in one day, or Pavlovsky Posad, a place where snowfall exceeded 50% of December's average. Many vehicles causing multiple transport delays, while airports have had to delay or cancel more than 50 flights. Let's take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at the account at TeleSUR English, in which you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back from the South. In the United States, 2 teenagers were killed and 3 others were injured in a shooting in the city of Atlanta. Deputy Police Chief Charles Hampton Jr. said that following a dispute on social media, a group of armed individuals approached the Continental Colony Parkway apartment complex near Greenbrier Mall in southwest Atlanta. According to a preliminary police report, the students continued the dispute and exchanged gunfire, resulting in the death of one 14-year-old and one 16-year-old. The police also said that 3 other teenagers aged 11 to 15 were wounded. Authorities say homicide and aggravated assault units are on the scene conducting a full investigation into the incident. In Japan, recent surveys reveal strong public rejection by citizens to the idea of raising taxes to enhance defense capabilities in a telephone survey conducted by Kyoto Agency on December 17th and the 18th. 53.6% of all those interviewed said they were against the government's plan to increase defense spending by 50% over current levels. Meanwhile, 39% of those polled said they welcomed the measure. At the same time, 64.9% of Japanese reject raising taxes to achieve this goal, compared to 30% who support the idea. The government of Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is planning to increase military spending from 1.24% of gross domestic product at present to 2% by 2027, claiming that over 1 trillion Japanese yen, or about 7.3 billion US dollars, will be needed to achieve this goal. At least 100,000 nurses in the United Kingdom took part in a strike to demand a 19% wage increase following the fall in purchasing power and the inflationary crisis. This is the first time that British nurses have been on strike in more than 100 years. The labour conflict forced the closure of more than 70,000 medical visits and surgeries. The Royal Union of the British College of Nursing affirmed that the strike will continue until changing the position of Rishi Sunak's government, which until now has been unyielding. According to analysts, the thousands of professionals participating in the strike show their unhappiness with the hike in prices and the crisis in the European country's public health system. The government of Greece announced that it will pay for 1/10 of the cost of each citizen's shopping basket for a period of 6 months. During the debate on the 2023 budget, Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis said the state would cover the cost of February 2023 as part of measures to tackle the nation's 10% inflation. Mitsotakis said the money will come from the taxes on refineries' profits thanks to the increase in fuel prices. This is the second initiative approved by the current government to curb the impact of inflation, following the approval in November of a cap on the price of 51 basic products. Germany opened a natural liquid gas terminal in Wilhelmshaven port, the first of 5 facilities financed by the government to address the energy crisis caused by the sanctions on Russian hydrocarbons. During the ceremony aboard the floating storage and regasification unit known as Hoek Esperanza, Chancellor Olaf Scholz stressed that the objective of this liquefied natural gas terminal is to fully compensate for the loss of Russian gas during 2022 and the new year 2023. The terminal, already loaded with Nigerian gas, will start supplying on December 22nd, with a capacity to provide 50,000 homes per year. The European country plans to open 4 other liquefied natural gas terminals, financed by the government and a private infrastructure in the coming month, which will supply 30 billion cubic meters of gas each year starting in 2023. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu inspected troops and flew over advanced positions in the zone of the military operation for the Donbas liberation. Shoigu visited the southern military district and inspected the grouping of Russian troops in the areas where the military operation is being carried out. He also flew over the areas of the Russian units' deployment and checked the advanced positions in the area of operation. On the front line, Shoigu talked to troops and thanked them for the excellent fulfillment of combat missions. In Russia, at least 1 dead and 8 wounded are reported after a projectile attack in the province of Belgorod on the Ukrainian border. According to Vyacheslav Gladkov, governor of the region, the deceased was a man from the Russian region of Tambov who was working on the construction of a workshop for a poultry farm. He also detailed that 7 of the injured people are already under medical care, while the 8th person was sent for outpatient treatment after refusing to be hospitalized. The governor also said that 14 houses and 9 vehicles in the provincial capital were damaged, as well as 2 residential blocks. We have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. The Qatar 2022 World Cup comes to an end with an extraordinary game worthy of a World Cup final. Argentina rose as champions under the strong leadership of Lionel Messi. The most awaited sport event in the world did not disappoint. Argentina during the first half controlled the game, getting ahead in the score 2-0. The first from the penalty spot and the second from a wonderful counter-attack led by Messi and finished by Di Maria. Defending champion France would not go down without swinging, and in the second half came out with everything and tied the game. Both goals were scored by France star Kylian Mbappé, the first from the penalty spot and the second a great volley from the corner of the box. The game went on to extra time, and again a great titan clash unfolded. Both teams scored and had many more chances to get the win. An impossible debut stopped 2 penalties in the penalty row, giving Argentina its 3rd World Cup title. Lionel Messi had a lot more to celebrate this time around after winning the Golden Ball for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Not only is Messi now World Cup champion, but he's also the first Golden Ball winner as the World Cup's most outstanding player. Kylian Mbappé had a tournament for the ages, culminating in the Golden Boot. He was the leading scorer with 8 goals, and his hat-trick in the final will be remembered for a long time despite coming in a losing effort. Argentina's Emiliano Martinez was the Golden Glove winner as the top goalkeeper. In Belgium, EU reached an agreement to reform the carbon market as part of the 27 nation bloc's proposed climate plan. The agreement provides for a change in the emissions trading scheme and compels electricity producers as well as cement and steel industries to pay quotas for their carbon emissions. Under the agreement, the allowances that companies can pay must be cut by 62% by 2030 in respect to 2005 levels, a measure that seeks to encourage a cut in emissions and stimulate the development of green technologies. The agreement also allows to tax citizens for emissions linked to heating buildings and road transport. On Sunday, the Tunisian electoral authorities announced that turnout for Saturday's parliamentary elections stood at only 8.8%. Despite the low turnout, the lowest in any poll since the revolution in 2011, the president of the electoral authority described the process as clean due to the lack of political financing and vote buying. Opposition groups boycotted the election, describing it as part of a coup against democracy. The main opposition alliance called on the president to bring all political forces together for consultations. The election took place almost a year and a half after Said deployed military vehicles to suspend parliament following months of political deadlock. In July, President Said used a referendum to push through a new constitution, virtually stripping parliament of any real power. Preliminary results are expected Monday. In Iraq, at least 7 federal police officers were killed on Sunday in an attack attributed to jihadist members of Islamic State group against a truck that was transporting them in the north of the country. According to local authorities, the attack against the unit was launched with an explosive device and a direct burst of small weapons fired near the village of Jalal al-Matar, located on the outskirts of the city of Kirkuk. Police sources reported that in the incident, the officers managed to shoot down one attacker and 2 were wounded in the exchange of bullets, and reiterated that they are searching for other attackers who fled. This happens in the context of a sustained violence in this territory after the Islamic State conquered several territories of the country in 2014. On Sunday, the African National Congress, South Africa's ruling party, votes to elect new leader. According to local analysts, the current president Cyril Ramaphosa is emerging as the favorite candidate after having overcome an impeachment request from the Democratic Alliance, his major political opposition. This request resulted from a scandal known as Farmgate, an investigation that revealed millions of dollars hidden in a farm of Ramaphosa's property. The voting of the African National Congress will take place over a period of 5 days in Johannesburg, with the presence of 4,500 delegates from all over the country. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.